Hello, this is Thomas Ott for NeuralMarketTrends.com, and welcome to another video on using RapidMiner. In today's video, we are going to learn on how to build a process to scrape Twitter data, analyze hashtags, group them into clusters, and try to figure out what are the influencing words, the most powerful words that are driving various tweets and so forth. So, let's get started. Okay, before we begin, I have this process set up here, but you can actually just grab this XML, this actually processed content, by coming over here to my blog, to my website, NeuralMarketTrends.com, clicking on Tutorials, and coming down to Use RapidMiner to Discover Twitter Content link. Click on that, you'll scroll down here, and here's the XML process, which you can copy and paste right into RapidMiner, and then all these operators, right, like here, pop up. Okay, great. Having said that, let's get started. Overview on this process. We have a couple of sub-processes here that do certain things. We have the text mining, text processing extension set up as well. And we're doing a couple other little branching work over here. We're multiplying the data and we're doing some other things. So what are we doing here? First sub-process, retrieving Twitter data. Next one, we're doing some ETL, preparing the data for text processing. Here, when we click on this, we take a look. We're doing tokenization, we're extracting links, we're filtering tokens and so forth, getting rid of stop words. And then what we're doing over here, we're clustering. We're doing some clustering, and we're trying to analyze what group various tweets end up in. And then we also do some influencing factors, where we try to do some weighting on the various words and see which ones are actually driving the underlying label. In this particular case, we're creating a not important and important label here, arbitrarily using 5 retweets as being important and less than 5 being not important. We'll get to that in a second. And I'll talk to you a little bit about why I did that originally and what my goal was in the next video on how I'm actually going to try to determine that number 5. What is it actually? So, all right, let's go back for here. First, click on the first sub-process here. I have some macros set up. Now, macros are global variables in RapidMiner. They're really powerful. Let's just click on this and I'll show you what I have here. I set up various keywords. And I'm going to search Twitter using these keywords, and I'm going to set up a date. The search Twitter operators, you can function by putting in a date. You could figure out, how to extract various tweets based on a date. And here's where I have my retweet count. And this is just arbitrary. This is just here for now. This is going to be used to say that, hey, if a tweet has more than 5 retweets, then consider it important. If not, it's not important. Okay? So we set these macros up right here: machine learning, data science, and AI. And we pass that information into these search Twitter operators. You can see here I'm calling keyword 1 macro. On this one over here I'm calling keyword 2, and then keyword 3, and so forth. I set up my Twitter connection here. If you need to set one on, you just click on this little guy and follow the instructions on how to get your access token and so forth. Real easy. Then I append it all together. I remove some duplicate IDs, because a lot of times people use AI, data science, machine learning multiple times in their tweets. And I just remove them based on their IDs, based on the Twitter IDs, and then I store it for later reuse. Up one level now. ETL. Now here's where we start doing some funky, interesting stuff. We remove duplicates from the same Twitter user, because sometimes people retweet the same things over and over again. So we filter that particular thing out. It's a little bit different than the IDs, because each tweet has a unique ID. This is actually the same Twitter same tweets from the same user. So we get rid of that as well too. I use a generate attributes operator to generate my arbitrary label based on retweets. We click on here. You can see here it's just a very simple type of if-then type of statement. Nothing too crazy. Let's cancel out on that. I set my role for the label. I select some attributes here. I just take the text and the label. Change the nominal values to text. I extract another label count over here, which I use later on in another process, and I go up one level to my text processing. Now here's where I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about actual Twitter data, and this is the meat and the important thing. There's a lot of people that get hung up on actual text processing of Twitter data. They want to perhaps save hashtags. Very important, right? You might want to save hashtags, or you might want to actually save links, or you might want to get rid of links. It really depends on how you actually want to process your text data. And Twitter data is very, very funky and really weird, so you have to spend some time thinking about it. So what did I do here? Okay, what did I do here? Well, what I wanted to do was I actually wanted to extract the links and use them for later on for some other information, right? So I used an extract information operator here, and I set it to regular expression, attribute type nominal, and my regular expression is just this. It just creates a separate column called tweet links that have HTTP and then .star, which captures everything that has HTTP on after it, and will drop it into a separate column, attribute column for later use. Then what I do is I actually just take that information. If anything else just has anything else that's in there, I just replace it by link in the data so that this can actually follow through the text processing. So all I do is I create a new column, and then I remove HTTP and so forth. Then I tokenize. Now here, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, normally the default parameter for tokenizing is non-letters. If you leave it as non-letters, okay, you're going to wipe out anything that has a hashtag, anything that has an @ symbol attached to it. It's going to be gone. You don't want to do that. You might want to save at some Twitter user's name, or you want to save the hashtag machine learning or whatever it is. You want to save that. So what you want to do is you want to set this to specified characters. And here you say, I want to only tokenize when I see a period or an exclamation point or a space, bracket, question mark, something along that line. You can actually specify what characters that you want to tokenize on, and this is very, very handy for saving those hashtags. Then I do some transformation cases. I filter out some tokens by length. I generate some n-grams, bigrams. I filter out words that have the word link in it and so forth, and I do some stop words. Now, this process I use in other processes, so some of these operators may or may not make sense to you. Don't worry about it. We'll go over it in another video. Go up one level, and all I do here, I come in here and I click on my clustering stuff. I just remove the links. I do some x-means between 2 and 60 clusters to automatically generate the optimal cluster types, and I store the model. No big deal there. Come down over here. I have another branch that comes down. Same thing, I remove the tweet links, but here, under determining influencing factor, I do a bunch of weighting schemes. I do weight by correlation, Gini index, information gain, and information gain ratio. I drop those weights to data, and then what I do is I pivot and I do a little bit of work and I normalize them all, and then I kind of average them all together, and I select the top 20. Really cool stuff, right? And finally, last but not least, I output the word list over here. I store it and I sort it based on most frequent words and so forth, just so I can kind of see what's kind of going on with the data. So let's run this. Takes a few seconds to run. Okay, now if this doesn't work and you really pull more than 3,000 tweets at a time, you're probably going to get rate blocked. So just be aware of that. Be a good net citizen. Don't try to suck down 20,000 tweets in one thing. So what you can do is you can pull them down every day, take 3,000 every hour or so, and then just build a data set from there. But be a good Twitter citizen here. All right, let's take a look at the sort. First thing is we sort it out. This is from the word list. You can see here that the combination of machine learning and engineering showed up in 37 tweets. They were in the important class. Don't worry about that for now. You can scroll down here. You can see this guy, 8 cassette scan, seems to be pretty popular. Influence, IoT, robotics, Mike Quindazzi tends to be very popular. Deep Learn 007 shows up quite a lot. Now let's go take a look at the most influencing factor words here. Okay, we see the most important words here. Machine learning, big data. Okay, makes sense. Machine learning engineering, this guy's pretty high up here. 8 CASCAN or whatever it is, and so forth. So if we click on charts, let's take a look at it, and we'll come down to, we look at sum, and we look at maybe importance, and attribute and so forth. We rotate the labels. You could see here that these are the big ones: engineering, education, influence, machine learning, and so forth. Those are pretty popular, dropping down to IoT and so forth. And you can set this to 20 to 100 to whatever you like. And now let's take a look at the cluster model. Cluster model says I have 3 clusters, and if I look at the plot, I could see right here that in cluster 2, machine learning engineering is in it, at CAT scan, influence, so forth. And my guess is that he's tweeting a lot about education and engineering and so forth. If I look at cluster 0, those are related to IoT, big data tech, big digital IoT, so forth. And cluster 1 appears to be somewhere in the range of deep learning, let's see here, robots, and so forth. So you can begin to get another understanding of what kind of things are going on here. You can see all the words and so forth in here. You can look at the graphs and so forth and see that cluster number 1 tends to be the smallest. So if we wanted to look at cluster number 1 here, let's just sort it. They're autonomous IoTs. This is all IoT related, probably. Mike Quindazzi, at Mike Quindazzi, seems to be tweeting a lot about that type of thing. So right there, you can really use this process to start exploring content and start seeing what's going on Twitter to make a sense of all that crazy mess out there. All right? So this is Thomas Ott for NeuralMarketTrends.com. Thank you so much for watching. Go to my website. Drop me a link if you like this YouTube video. Drop me a comment. Just say hello. Tell me what you're using this process for. I'm really excited to be back making videos. And that's it. Thank you very much. This is Thomas Ott for NeuralMarketTrends.com, your data science and analytics hub. Have a great day.